What's it like directing an animation? What does that entail?
Well, I never directed anything else, so I don't really have a point of reference to compare it to. I have worked with people that came from live action, and they found that the way we do it is completely backwards, because we have this system of working where we actually edit your film beforehand. You actually record the voices, you storyboard everything, you edit it together, and then you test it with audiences, and you actually get a chance to see, how the film is working and if it's landing emotionally or not. And that's a huge advantage. That's why I think I have a hard time believing I could do it in live action, because then it's been years of conditioning me to that system, But and also the very important thing is to gather all the right talents around you that know much more than you do in every area, because there's so many disciplines, right? So I try to be very mindful of what I'm not good at and make sure I find the people who are far better than me and listen, right? So yeah.
Very good skill, by the way. So I'm guessing with live action, you can't really change the dialogue, but with an animation, you can say, oh, this isn't working, so we're going to add this line and we're going to take this out.
Yeah, and you can kind of do in live action too, right? So, there's a lot of, things that get fixed in post-production. But yeah, we have several iterations with several screens, and we discover a whole story arc wasn't working, and we actually need to rewrite and go back and find that piece that should make it work, So yeah, there's a lot of puzzle building until you find that perfect formula where everything is flowing nicely and every character is, you discover, oh, this guy's unlikable, how do we fix that? Or that plot point is great, but it doesn't work for the next sequence. So, it's a lot of, and it's a collective effort, I should say. There's a lot of people chipping in, throwing solutions at it. But you do try a few things that do not work. That's why there's so many films with deleted sequences, in animation, because those are the things we tried that didn't quite work, right? Right.
Do you direct the voice actors as well? Are you involved in that process?
Yeah.
So what was it like directing J.K. Simmons?
Easiest job I've ever had in my life, because J.K., he read the original script, and that's why he took the job, which we were extremely thankful for. But then he would just come in and say, well, just give me the gist of it, right? And we would say, for today's, we're recording this and that, and he would land it on the first take, like perfect, right? And then there was even a moment very emotional. There was like a long line that he read emotionally. He had a crying in the booth, right? And he's like, "What? How's that?" I'm like, "Well, that's the good one. We have you for another 2 hours, so do it again, I guess." But it was like just to justify the expense, But man, what a professional! Rashida was a godsend because she is a writer herself. I'm writing in English, which is not my first language, so there's definitely room for improvement. She comes in and says, I don't think I should say this way, and then she would offer far better solutions, So having her taught me a lot, and also working with her and with Jason, whenever I went back to do rewrites, they had taught me who the character was, so I could now write their version of it, Jason was incredible to work with. Jason was... this character was the most difficult one to get, because when you have a morally reprehensible character, you always run the risk he's going to be unlikable for the audience, right? So how do you get away from that? You need to find that sweet spot where the characters, I call it the Daffy Duck effect, like that perfect spot where this character is completely flawed, but that's what makes him relatable, right? So Jason, when he came in, I still hadn't figured it out, and he was the one that worked with me on trying to figure it out. So he came in with the clips from all movies. I could play him like this. I could play. Insanely involved in the process, right? And then every line we gave him, he just improvised. I mean, a line with 2 words would become easily a 20-minute rant, He just would go on, and we just came up with this wealth of material. Like, look at all these choices, and it was about putting a perfect puzzle together out of all the material. But I guess maybe only like 40% of the lines stayed as scripted. The rest of it is just him exploring the character, and it made him feel authentic. And he's improvising, and you can hear the character think, which is something that you don't easily get. So once again, after working with Jason, I'm like, oh, I can write this guy now because I know he taught me where the character was, and it was great.
That's super interesting because that's true. You do, for a holiday movie, you don't want a completely morally bankrupt character. What's your favorite thing about the holidays?
It's just the whole, I mean, the moment I start seeing the first decorations and all that, it's just, there's just something about it, it's imbued in your psyche since you were a kid, even if it's still going to be the same Christmas every year, you still get excited about it, always, and if there's a good film coming out or something like that speaks to that Hollywood spirit, then all the better, right?
Awesome.
Right.
Well, thank you so much.
Right, thank you.
Take care.